Welcome back to the Fitness Beginner Show. Here's where we get down to the basics, the training, the nutrition, the recovery, and the mindset. My name's Eric, and as always, our guide is multi-time NPC bodybuilding champion and coach in his 50th year. Welcome and all aboard Train with Barry. How's it going, Barry? Where you
Hold
been?
on, Eric. Man, I've been everywhere. How long has it been? How long have we done? Is
I
it
think
10 days?
we skipped a week there, I think. We skipped at
Yeah.
least a week.
If anyone out there knows what it's like, I had the enjoyment of moving to a new location. And that was luckily I do work out because if I didn't work out, that wouldn't have happened. That program was not going to happen. That was the hardest thing, and literally in all the lifting I do, hardest thing I ever did.
Was move
Just,
your furniture.
yeah, because the way this new house is designed, it's old. It's an old house, and the stairs are like you can't two people can't go up the stairs at the same time. You can't really go up the stairs with like say two bags of groceries in your right arm or left side. You got to turn a little bit this corner. They're just really thin. So everything that we had to bring up, me and another guy, had to be hoisted over our heads. We literally had to carry it
Wow.
up 12 flights, turn six into the door. And literally, I'm telling you, I counted in my mind. I'm like, okay, that's one, two, three. I got three more, two more. It was something. Luckily, I'm a minimal one. I mean, I don't have a lot of. I mean, the mattress was brutal. The coffee table was brutal. The sectional modular I have really brutal, and then everything else was just cardio. But man, that was a workout.
So you say you can't get up there with two bags of groceries. Is this the lengths you have to go through to make diet changes? Is you
Yeah,
might have to move to a place where you just can't carry that much food.
no, I can get that. It's just more cardio. That's all. I got to eat more food to make up for that extra cardio I'm doing.
How's your cardio? You don't like cardio, do you?
I'm doing it right now twice a week. I don't not like it. Um, I go through spurts. Right now, I'm doing 2 days a week, and once I get on that routine of doing it, I can't stop. I mean, it's like everything. I do it on before shoulders and arms twice a week, 25 minutes. I've done a couple of times. I'll do it on chest day, but nah, not really need to. It leaves me out too much, honestly. For me, it just most of my cardio is in my train. I'm honestly with the pace I train. I mean, I'm thinking about the other day when I was thinking about when I was going from one set of chest to the back exercise, supersetting. I mean, I ain't lying to you. I was thinking about this podcast. Even I was thinking. I mean, I'm sucking air. I mean, I'm sucking air my whole workout. If I looked at if I was hooked up to do that old, see what my heart rate would be, I would say it'd be in the fat burning zone pretty much. It would be peaks and valleys, but for the most part, I got to believe I'd be in my training zone the whole time for the most part, just for the pace I train. So there's very little downtime, which I've always been. That's how I've always tried to train. I was always taught, the old Ultimate Warrior guy, Jim Helger, was the guy I trained with. I think I've talked about a long time ago before he passed away, and that guy was a beast. I mean, he doesn't know anything but just go, 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 go.
There's a clip of him online, and I think I told you this, maybe the last time you brought him up, and I still haven't found it and sent it to you. So I'm gonna make myself a note to do that. But he's training some like it looks like maybe high school kids.
Right?
And man, these kids must not have known what they're getting into because they're telling him how it hurts.
Yeah.
And boy, did he let loose on them. He starts screaming about hurts. He starts talking about his experiences, what he's done in his life, and how
Right.
you need to push through hurt. But
Right.
he's doing it in the Jim Hellwig motivational speech way.
Right.
And I'm sure you know how that is.
He is. I tell you honestly, it was a love-hate relationship. I loved it, but I hate it. It's the hardest thing I ever did in my workout. He doesn't rest, and he don't allow you to rest. When he gets off that bench, you better sit your butt down, do your set. So I had a battle for a while because I was pretty strong, but then this is we're talking about a while back. But when you train at that pace with probably 45-second rest between sets, it took me a while to build my strength back up to, muscular endurance wise, just because of the lack of recovery from set to set. Weights really did have to go down. The pump was amazing, which is the whole point anyway. But yeah, he was. he just went in, got it done, and he didn't play. And I didn't miss a workout, but some days I didn't look forward to going in because I was sore all the time,
Well, I
literally.
mean, that's kind of like what you and I were chatting about earlier today, right? It's I sent you that one clip of that guy who was basically saying, look, the magic is in when you feel when you're getting uncomfortable in the rep, those next few reps
Right.
is where your muscle building happens. And this is knowledge that goes back, this is not anything, it's not groundbreaking science here. This is old school knowledge.
Yeah, I'm glad. That's kind of the direction I wanted to go in and kind of talk about today as well, which is that. And we have talked about back and forth, I think, for the last week. Sending little funny videos or little things or just stupid stuff in the gym kind of thing. But a lot of it was dressed like that guy was talking about. And as he said, that's old school. That's back in the days of the big body. That's the Arnold days, which is the way I've always, thankfully, was taught back in old school was the way that we worked out. It was no nonsense. You didn't have phones. We don't even think we owned. That was even before the phones, to be honest with you. So we were taught otherwise, which is the same way I train now. My phone goes in the locker. I don't take it in. There's no need to take it in the gym with me. I don't have time to look even for that. But it's a different approach. The intensity is different, but you have to train truthfully. And I know we talk a lot about that, but that's all a process. Like my brother reached out to me and we've talked about him being on board and he's got his food down now and all he talks about is protein this, protein that, and what he's eating. And, he's flipped his whole life when it comes to food. And as he even mentioned, it's funny, which you probably noticed, and I think everybody noticed it, I've noticed is that everything you turn on now, phone, TV, commercials, it's all about protein. I saw it the other day for 30-gram protein ice cream. Now it's
Yeah.
30-gram protein. You go to Starbucks, they're protein this, protein that. Everyone now all of a sudden is jumping on the magic pill, magic protein wagon. Something we've talked about or I've been doing and most bodybuilders do their whole life. But somehow now people are finding out to some extent that somehow that's the secret. So, but he said, yeah, every time I turn something on, that's what it all talks about now. Creatine, protein, that's kind of the magic thing. So he's starting tomorrow. He joined the gym, starting tomorrow morning. He reached out to me, man, I thought you were going to call me today. I need my program. So he's all geeked up. And so I called and talked to him. But, again, like I do with everybody, no matter, I know we talk a lot about weights and intensity and the 100-pound dumbbells and whatever. But as I told him, you go in, our goal tomorrow is just, here, I gave him the whole circuit at Joint Planet. And it's legs, leg press, leg extension, leg curl, 12, 15 reps. Don't worry about the weight, but everything may be on 50. I'd rather you call me afterwards and say, Barry, this was light, this wasn't that big a deal. After the second workout, then we'll start adjusting the weights. But everything is baby steps. You gradually want to get there. This is what you don't want to do. I think about this a lot and was thinking about it. There's two real, I think, keys. Consistency is the first one. I think that's the most important thing. Just consistency and showing up. But even in that, you got to have progressive resistance. And for people to understand, when I use that term, it's just trying to do something better, as I told my brother, than you did yesterday. That doesn't mean every time you're going to go in that's going to be the case. But you're trying to, Ed, who trains with me, his son, it has been with me for a while. We met last week for lunch, and every year we get together, reassess where he's at. He's looking great. I actually put a little bit more muscle on this year, and he does everything virtual with me. And most of his stuff, he just sends me his numbers. I go over them, and then I revamp them for him, and we periodically change his program up. But that being said, everything he sends me is always 10 reps. His program will be, I did chest press this much weight, 10 reps, 10 reps, 10 reps. And as I told him, everything's always 10. And I said, your problem is everything's always 10. You got to eliminate. So if you've done 3 sets of chest and you did 10, went up 10, went up 10, you got to get rid of those first 2 sets. That's your first set, is that 10. Then you bump it. You might get 10, you might get 8. That's fine. but I said what I call the bullcrap. You got to eliminate the bullcrap sets. And so, interesting enough, he did his next workout. But his text to me was, he said it was a good workout. I really was fatigued and tired, more than I got to, take me a while to get used to this. And the reason is when you're eliminating the bullcrap sets, and he's going right after it now that it's that 10 that meant 10, you're working at a whole harder pace than you were, because now he's got to build up more in muscular endurance because of the intensities he's training, because he's getting rid of the wasted sets. And what I told him, what his warm up, his max is now will be his warm up. 3 months, whatever he is maxing for 2 reps, will be his warm up for 10 reps.
Right. And that's taking it back to what you're saying. That's actually the progressive in the progressive resistance. Because one of the things that I had to sit with is some of these terms that sometimes I would maybe overthink the complexity of. And I didn't really sit with it long. I'm not that dumb. It took me a second to maybe catch on. Progressive meaning advancing in number. We're progressing in the number. We're going up in
Right,
weight.
right,
Okay. Resistance meaning the resistance that you're putting your muscle under. So this particular muscle that we're working on needs to have a progressive resistance of weight advancing upward in amount.
right.
And that's how I had to had to kind of think of that. Even though it's kind of one of those buzzwords, it's getting to be one of those buzzwords that you kind of lose the meaning of because you hear it so much. So I just wanted to kind of,
No, that's great. That's a great
yeah.
example. And so none of my sets are wasted. Literally, when I train, I'm not going to tell you, my workouts are not easy, even for me. They're just not. They're hard. When I went in yesterday for legs, I ain't going to lie, when I get up and I know I got to go and train legs, I'm not dreading it, but I'm a little scared because I know what I got in front of me, seriously. Um, but I don't allow myself to come up short. I went up to 285 on the squats. Only the second time I've done 285 on the squat in probably the last 10 years. I used to squat a lot more and I got away from doing it, my back and whatever. Now it feels solid. So I'm gradually trying to go back up. But it's the second time I've done 285 in probably the last 10 years, honestly. So, and I want to do more, but ain't gonna lie, it's a mindset. You got to get your head in the game when you're backing out of that rack with 285 pounds on the back or whatever you're backing out, whatever is your heavy for you. You know what I mean? But you can't nonchalantly just get up and assume it's going to be, you got to take stuff, what I call, to another level. You got to be in the game. And that's, again, it's a broken record for us, and I know for me, but that's why I don't play with my phone. That's why I don't have my phone. Because I just don't know what that would be like to do a set like yesterday at 255 and then pick up my phone. And then I'm not sure what all they're looking at. And then do that for 3 minutes or whatever. Then put my phone down and just get back up at 285 and I'm going to squat that. Man, the risk of injury or even failure, like some of the stuff we watch of dropping that bar, is pretty high. Now, not for these people, because there is no progressive resistance. The same weight they got to start set 1 is the same weight they're using on set 4. And really, and maybe I'm too hard, probably to some extent. If that's who you are, what you're into, and what you want to do, that's fine. You know what I mean? But don't complain that you're not seeing results or change you'd like to see. That's the ones who bother me. If you're just content going in and you're doing your thing, and you go out and you're like, at least I'm showing up and at least I'm doing my thing, that's fine. But the ones that didn't want to get with you, or you hear them talking to their friends about just not seeing any change, my body's not changing. Well, that's on you. You know what I mean? Now, maybe that's lack of knowledge, lack of direction, but there's just no intensity. Like I sent you that thing a little while ago, what I call the 93% club. That's a big club, but that's the club that has no progressive resistance. They just, same weights what they start, same weight what they finish.
Right. And I kind of was mentioning that to you when we were chatting the other day off air, where I was making the joke that it is uncomfortable to push yourself into that zone where, like you just described, your leg day. that psychologically you're like, oh man, I already know I'm going to kick my butt. You didn't, it's in so many words.
That's true.
You knew going into it the intensity that you want to ask of yourself. Just to be honest, I think you're saying 93% club is basically the folks that are, I would describe myself in that 93% club that I'm trying to break out of, where I'm not psyching myself out over the workload.
Right. Well, 93% club is the actual study they say is the people who go to the gym every day, every other day, whatever, and don't get any results. And if you're frequent, you work the gym when you're at Planet, and you see the people come in every day. There's very few people you see that you'll see someone come in and say, "Man, you really, well, you see some good change, man. You look good." It's very rare that you'll see something. It's very rare I see anybody in the gym. I see it periodically, but I travel back between two or three different gyms, and the gym I train Dave at, I go once a week, and I might not see anybody. Most of the time, I see somebody who even was in better shape at one time or not in that same shape as they were. But rarely do I see anybody that I can say, man, I don't know what they're, they must really be doing the program that's working for them. But again, so many factors play into that. For women, I think watching it mostly is lack of calories, lack of protein. It's as simple as that. But they sure will knock out the sets. It's just bang. I mean, a lot of sets, just pounding it, thinking that's the answer. And that's never the answer, especially if you're not making up the difference when it comes to replenishing and restoring. Like I always want to ask somebody when I'm in the gym, like I'll probably go tomorrow at work tonight. I'll probably go to the gym at 10 tomorrow, 10:30, kind of slacks up a little bit at that time. And I'm 3 meals in by the time I go to the gym. If I get in there at 11 o'clock, I've already had three. There's most people I would say, first of all, I bet you most of those people I ask in the gym ain't had anything yet. By the time they wake up, time they get to the gym. I would say, most of those people, and they all think that's a good thing. So they're going to lose weight. And again, they're going to burn muscle before they're going to burn fat. So there's so many factors that play in it. And it's just a tougher, we were talking to a gentleman last night, a friend of mine who works out, and he was saying the same thing, watching people in the gym, people that you'd like to go say something to. Like I watched the guy the other day doing kickbacks, and they were, he was an Indian dude. I could, probably would have accepted it well, but people don't accept tips or advice much anymore. And I 2 or 3 times almost went over to say, man, let me show you. Can I show you a better way to do that? No, I'm just not, I just can't do it. I'm just going to set myself up because they get offended, it hurts their feelings, and I'll just let him do what he's doing. But I don't even know what he was, it had very little tricep. It was one of those things, triceps, you kind of keep your elbow high and you stop it right here is where it starts. You kick it back and then top it here. He was doing, he was coming all the way in front, a little bit of momentum, kicking back, barely getting it back, and then bringing it up again. I mean, he had 30-pound dumbbells, which is good enough weight in itself. He wasn't a guy who was fit. I would have said, if I'd have said to him what I wanted to say, which probably would have bothered him, hey, go give me get some 20s, come back over. Let's try to do it this way. Maybe it'd have been acceptable to that, maybe not, I don't know. But the times that I've tried recently, like this guy was saying last night, he spoke to somebody, they get all, I know what I'm doing. I got my program. Okay, hey, do you, man? I don't know what else to tell you. So that's the hard part. As much as I'd love to reach out, and I was telling him last night, all the crazy people impersonating train. He was talking about the trainer at Planet, which we already know about how that works, which is a shame. But all you want to try to do is I'd like to just make a difference. Try to help somebody. Hate to see them throw their money away, not not get disenchanted and not want to come back. It's not ever about money. It's about just if you're going to spend the time in and do the work. I would hope you'd want to be able to do, know how to do it the right way.
Well, I'm glad you said that because I've been wanting to ask you. I mentioned a buddy of mine who's actually staying with my brother for a little while here. His name's Lupe, and he's on a weight loss journey himself. I sent you a couple of photos.
Yeah, so
Yeah. So he has some mobility issues. He's on a cane.
There's a cane, yeah.
Yeah, so that kind of it kind of gets in the way of maybe getting some walking in. I mean, there's only
Yeah,
so much walking you can do when your joints are
yeah,
kind of hurting like that. So you know he was talking about getting some weights into the program. And what would you? I mean, do you have a recommendation on where somebody like that
yeah. The
in
weight
that?
does, we've talked about that. I mean, I've had two people that I can remember, two that stand out to me. Mark was 350 when he started. This guy looks like he's probably about 350. He's a big boy. I had a guy that came to me I was training at Anytime Fitness. His goal really was just to be able to shower at our gym. It was one of those old, those, what do you want to call them? The makeshift showers that you got to open the thing. So they're a little smaller
Yeah.
footprint getting in the door. He just couldn't get in it. He was too big. And he's very similar to that guy. And his workout doesn't change. Neither of those people's workout changed. Mark got down to about 220. And this other guy, not after a period of time, was showering at the gym, was able to bend over and tie his shoe, things that he just wasn't able to do. Um, but I didn't change anything up. I didn't change the same workout I gave my brother today to start with, the same workout I'd give these two guys or that guy. And then just keep progressive resistance and moving it up. He's not a lost cause. That'd be someone I would love to get a hold of, seriously, to watch this guy make the changes that he can make and then be off of that cane and then living life.
So
Uh,
I tell you what, just from working with you and just from us doing the show here, if I were to write what I've learned so far, and just to begin a program, what I would say is we're going to we're going to lay down, we're going to start with bench presses. We're going to do a bench press because we want to work the muscle, the chest before we start working shoulder or bicep. So we're going to start with a weight that's going to give him about 10 to 12
yeah.
reps comfortably. And once we do that, we're going to get 3 sets of that in before we move that weight up.
Right.
Uh,
First couple of workouts, you don't really worry about the weight. But like I
okay.
did, let's say for a great example is like my brother. And then again, this guy, I don't know where he's going to work out or if he's even going to. My brother's going to Planet. So you know how Planet's laid out. As I told my brother, let's start with a selectorized leg press. We're going to put it on 40 or 60 pounds, go 12 to 15 reps, 2 sets of leg press. Go the leg extension, next one. Go the leg curl, the next one. Now go the chest press machine, the pec deck machine, the pull down, the one arm row machine, the shoulder press machine, the tricep machine, the preacher curl, out the door.
Done.
5 minutes on the bike to warm up. Start your leg workout. He'll be in and out of there in 35 minutes, and
Very
then
good.
we'll progress from there. Um, I won't even attempt. We'll probably meet up in Cincinnati coming in the next couple of months when my stuff slows down a little bit, and then I'll take him to Planet with me, and I'll move him over into free weight. But he'll have a good opportunity, kind of like Rosemary is doing. Reggie is building a foundation and a base with the selectorized machine. Nothing wrong with that, training with that. You eventually want to take it to another level and go free weight. But that's what I would take anybody in the gym. That's how I would do their work. And everybody, it doesn't matter 500 pounds, 100 pounds, it's all the same.
This builds a core strength that they can build from.
Exactly. And then just keep moving the weight up. The more he does, once he gets his food kind of in control, the more muscle fiber involved, the leaner and tonier he's going to get, and he will start leaning out. And it won't take him that long. He's not that old. That dude looks like he's in his early 30s. So he's got
Yeah.
much growth. He's not a guy that's probably been that weight forever. The hard ones are the ones that when he gets to his 40s and 50s, and they call that set point weight, where your body's very comfortable. That's why most people, let's say, have been heavy all their life, and they get in the gym and they actually do progress well, and then get in good shape, and then kind of fall off the wagon. Their body's very comfortable being where they were. It will go back to that quicker because that's what's called a set point, what your body's used to. So it's harder to get there. It's harder to maintain because your body's kind of fighting it. But a guy like that, who's probably 30, looks like 32, he ain't been, you know what I mean? It ain't been long enough for him to worry about anything like that. So he has a lot of potential to change his body very quickly. His body will.
I told him he looks very young. He's actually 42, I
Is
believe.
he? Yeah, he looks
Yeah.
great. I mean, he's
Yeah.
young.
Yeah.
I guarantee you when he loses down, I saw a picture of a girl the other day. Man, what you talking about getting young quick?
Yeah.
When you drop, the guy drop 150 pounds, he's going to look like he's 20 years old.
I know. I
You
know. Then
know,
he's gonna have
but
to
he got
beat him
that
off with a
baby
stick.
face.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah. So along that line is what's kind of been on my heart this week, as far as just talking about. And I think today was the anniversary. I followed a lot of. We talking about that guy real quick, not to get off subject. That you sent me that thing about the guy talking about when you get to a certain
Oh yeah.
get to that weight and you do whatever that weight or whatever that rep is, don't really. And so I sent you that quote, which is true. Someone asked Muhammad Ali one time, how many crunches you do? How much sit-ups you do for his boxing? He said he didn't know. He said I don't start counting until it gets hard. So you think about that. That's when. So when it starts getting like uncomfortable is when he's like, okay, let's start.
No,
One,
that's
two.
a different level of fitness because I've never not counted. I've never not counted, but if you're at a level to where you just can bang them out, and then when it
Oh,
starts
abs is good.
hurting,
Yeah,
yeah,
abs, man. And I do that now with I do the crunches where you got your feet hooked up under and you're on that little slant board, trying to do them right, which means take your feet out of it, come down to where you let your abs grab you and not your hip flexors grab you. Just talking about the correct way to do it.
right.
And I do that. I'll get to, I'm always trying to get 25. And I haven't done them for a long time because I'm used to doing that machine. And when I went back to those things kicked my rear end. I mean, I was getting 15 or 16 and sucking air. I didn't like that. Now
Yeah.
I'm back up to 18 or 20. But when I get to 18 in my mind trying to get 25, that's when it gets ready. That gets real for me. At like 15, now I got to get past that to get to where I'm trying to get to. So I'm not saying don't count, but his philosophy was the same mindset, which was he doesn't get into what he's called training mode till it starts getting, you know, where you got to push past that barrier kind of thing. And yeah, is it uncomfortable? There's no doubt about it. It's uncomfortable, but it's not. For the average person, if they ever get to it, they're a long way off from that. You know what I mean? And I talked to Rosemary. I saw her Friday night. Asked her how her thing was coming along, and she's still pushing. Still, she's still in it, still doing it. And she's got that mindset where she, loves to be able to tell me she went up 2 pounds, 5 pounds. You know what I mean? There's something in that, progression, that pride of, that I'm getting stronger and things are working for me, but doing it the right way. And then Reggie, as I talked about a couple of weeks ago, he's having his hip replacement this Tuesday. So, but he said to me the other night, he said, Barry, if I had to do over again, I would have trained my legs back when I was in my 20s and my 30s. One of those guys, I think he did some up. He was an athlete, a football player, and he got into refereeing football games, baseball games. And part of the problem was, I think, was all that stopping and going and all that uh, running that he was doing on the football field and baseball field and not doing any conditioning work, not doing any training is where he's just now bone on bone
Mhm.
from that stopping and going. Kind of like when I ripped my quad out of my kneecap, was all those, they said, playing baseball and that playing the outfield and running and stopping, pivoting and whatever. And just it's like squatting with your knees going out over your toes. That pressure on that kneecap, over and over and over again, eventually something's got to give.
Blow it out.
So he's having hip replacement and he's excited about it. Just he really wants to see now. He's already ready to start rehabbing and getting on board, see how long it take him to get back in the game and really start training legs. So that's going to be fun to watch, and we'll see. But
100%.
um,
I
but
agree.
with that, what I wrote down today was interesting. I'm a big, as you well might be, Jack LaLanne fan. He was like the icon. That dude in his 90s was, I think it was what, 85th birthday. He was still pulling tugboats with his teeth across the friggin' ocean kind of thing. He was a beast. He wasn't a big guy, but he was a guy that spoke to people, could resonate with people and, get them motivated kind of thing. And his is a quote he wrote down, which goes along the line we were talking about, which was Reggie talked about, and we talked about this last week. You kind of was going to address. I can't remember exactly what you had, some kind of quote or something,
No,
but
I know exactly the one you're talking about. There was a clip I sent you of an actor named Michael Jai White who talked about how people have the excuse that they don't have time to work out, and his point was working out is the only thing that can arguably give you time,
Right.
because it's better for your health and longevity. So that was the angle of that one.
Okay. And then, like Reggie was saying, remember when he ended our session we did, he was saying basically how he saw it, you can pay now in the gym or you can pay the doctor later. So Jack LaLanne
Incredible.
had a kind of thing. His was basically exercise isn't punishment, it's protection. It protects your heart, your joints, your balance, your independence. You don't train because you ate too much. So you can get off the floor without help. So you can climb stairs with confidence. So you can live without fear of losing strength. Exercise isn't a penalty for living. It's an insurance for your future. That's a great quote. I mean, it
Wise
says it
words.
well,
Yeah,
you know.
100%.
So that's the whole, at the end of the day, aesthetically being pretty and nice body and being people recognizing you going to the beach and looking great. We all want that. You know what I mean? That's what drives us. But what I look at it as quality of life, like I was talking to the guy the other night, which I've always said, God didn't create us to deteriorate as we got in our 60s and 70s and ready to retire. And now you're friggin' bedridden or sitting on the couch because you can't, get up or get around. We do that on our own. You know what I mean? There is no training Dave yesterday at 75. Joe Jones, I trained at 85. Um, it doesn't matter. Age ain't got nothing to do with it. You can be as active as you want to be and live the same quality of life. I'm only 60, so I say only 67, but 67, I don't feel any different in anything I do, honestly, than I did in my 20s. It's not like I say, oh, I could really, that's not as easy as it used to be, or I just don't. I don't really think about it, but probably take it for granted at some extent. But if you look at your average person in their late 50s, early 60s, 70s, this generation, I see it every night watching people come to these shows. He's got to help get out of their seats or need a certain chair because the seat sits too low. If they get in, they can't get out. And these are normal 50, 60-year-old people. It's kind of sad because it's only going one direction. It ain't going to get better.
That's an excellent point and a perfect way to end the episode. Thank you so much. If you found anything helpful here, please give us a like and a subscribe. Hit the subscribe button is what I mean. Also, that subscribe button will turn into a little notification bell where you can be notified of all of the episodes here as we drop them. We got about 2 minutes left here,
Yeah,
Barry.
real quick, did anybody throw out anything? Any questions?
Yeah, actually, I was going to
Who
get
was
to
it?
that. I know we didn't get much time this time,
Yeah.
but we did get somebody that said great stuff. I trained with Barry for a few years. He was amazing, regardless of your level. He meets you right where you're at. So that was a nice comment. I see another one here that my wife left. She wants you to talk about menopause in women and vitamins. So we might have to pick that
Okay.
up on the
We can
next
jump on.
episode.
Who did anybody have a name with that? The train said name?
It honestly, it says. My balls Agna. So I was gonna stay away from that. I'll send that to you. Well,
Yeah. Reason I asked because Reggie hit me up this week. He said, I haven't seen your new podcast
that
out. Is
was
it
that
out?
was that was the next one here. Barry, how should one deal with injuries or pain that develops from working out? And although we got about a minute
Listen,
left.
yeah, we'll address that. But the reason I say that funnily is I thought Reggie must have sent a question. It's the only reason he's wanting to know. We don't do a
Yeah,
red. If we don't do a red shutout, then we're going to be in trouble. So we
there you
got.
go. What
I
do you
thought
got?
he must have shot us a question
There you
because he
go.
wanted us to do a red shout out. So let's go ahead and do that anyway. But let's hold those till next time and we'll do it.
Thank you so much for joining us, and thank you again, Barry. Reg,
All right, man.
see you next time.
Appreciate it. See you.
All right.